Chapter 45 of Just Stories, The Kind That Never Grow Old by Winfred Hurst, SDS. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Maria Therese. If he could do that, then I can do something. The story I am about to tell is touching and sad, but it teaches a much needed lesson, a Lenten lesson in particular. Now, Lent, as you know, is that special time of prayer and penance preceding Easter Sunday. It begins each year on Ash Wednesday and lasts 40 days, because Jesus fasted 40 days and 40 nights in the desert before he began his public life. Lent is also a time when we are asked to meditate often on the bitter sufferings and death of the Savior. That is why we should be so eager to make the way of the cross and to attend Lenten devotions. Indeed, good Catholics everywhere make of Lent a real time of fasting, prayer, and penance. Also good children do. Though children are not obliged to observe the prescribed fast, they nevertheless can and do find ways of practicing self-denial. They fast from eating candy, fast from going to shows, fast from spending money so that they may give it to the missions. They do all this because it enables them to suffer a little with Jesus and for Jesus, and there is a real spiritual joy in that, when the Passion of Christ is always before their minds. But I must get to my story. The story of a Negro boy who knew how to suffer for Jesus, who is really a model for us, and who makes one say, "If he could do that, then I can at least do something." What a coward I am when I compare myself with him. Benno we shall call this noble black boy. When he first heard the missionary speak about the great and good God who created heaven and earth and all things, and who sent his only begotten Son, Jesus, to redeem us and reopen for us the gates of heaven, closed by the sin of our first parents, his heart was strangely moved. Of his own accord he often came to hear the missionary speak of that dear God of love and kindness, and tears came to his eyes when he thought of all that poor Jesus suffered, especially when he thought of the scourging at the pillar. Benno, you see, was a slave, and he knew how fearfully the poor slaves were often whipped by their heartless masters. As time passed, Benno was fully instructed by the missionary, and finally made a Christian, a child of God, and an heir of heaven. He was baptized. He was then 10 years old. But, as I have already said, though so young, he was already a slave, and he had a most cruel master. This master bitterly hated the missionary and the Catholic religion, and when he heard that Benno had been instructed and baptized, he was furious. In great rage he forbade the boy, under pain of the lash, ever to go near the missionary again. For a time Benno did not know just what to do, but the longer he reflected, the clearer it became to him that in order to know his faith properly, he must attend the instructions given by the missionary, and in order to be strong in that faith and live up to it, he must assist at Holy Mass and receive the Holy Sacraments. So, though well he knew what it would cost him, he soon found opportunities to go to the mission, where he edified all by his extraordinary devotion and fervor. Yes, his master found out. In terrible rage he ordered the young slave to be brought to him. "You have disobeyed my orders and have gone to the hated Christians," he said. And before the boy could utter a single word, he gave his men the harsh command, "Tie him to the whipping post and give him 25 lashes. The cat o' nine tails." 25 lashes with those knotted cords and thongs from the hands of a brutal slave. When it was over, Benno was writhing in pain, and his naked body was red and blue and swollen. "Now what can your Jesus Christ do for you?" the heartless master snarled. "He can give me the strength to bear this patiently," said the tortured boy, in his heart a prayer to Jesus at the pillar for strength to suffer with him. New fury leaped into his master's eyes. "Give him 25 more," he roared. How awful! Now the swollen stripes were cut and torn open by the burning lashes. Benno was moaning pitiably in his terrible pain. "And what can your Jesus Christ do for you now?" sneered the cruel master, a hellish look of triumph in his eyes. "He helps me to remember that he will reward me for all that I am suffering for him," came from the boy's trembling lips. "Another 25!" roared the enraged tyrant, furious beyond measure. And while the hissing lash descended again and again, and the martyr boy writhed and whimpered in anguish beneath the deadly blows, He watched with an unholy joy in his bleared eyes. When this part of the inhuman scourging was finished, he again addressed the boy, bleeding, exhausted, fainting. "And what can your Jesus Christ do for you now?" And with his last little strength the dying boy feebly whispered, "He helps me to pray for you." And with these words on his lips he died, true to Jesus to the end. End of chapter 45.